Welcome in here to the ESPN studios. Just wrapping up Saturday in the Premier League and some surprising results and maybe some that we could have predicted. Let's go through week 2, what we have so far. Arsenal, a 2-1 win over Burnley. A great performance from Dani Ceballos with 2 assists. Villa need to win their home games. They lost 2-1 at home to Bournemouth. Then Brighton against West Ham. It was Leandro Trossard, the $20 million signing, who was the big difference there. Everton, a 1-0 win over Watford. Bernard getting the lone goal there. Norwich, 3-1 over Newcastle. Pukki, a hat trick for the man who scored 29 goals for Norwich to get them up to the Premier League. And then a 2-2 draw, scintillating game between Manchester City and Tottenham. But Stevie, let's start out with Arsenal's game against Burnley, because you were impressed with some of their new signings.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was impressed with them going forward with Dani Ceballos, but being a wizened old defender myself, I was impressed with David Luiz. You know, I said previously in a back 4, I didn't think that was his best position. I prefer him in a back 3, but today he did lead the way defensively. So yes, they lost the goal, but it was a bit of a fluke, to be quite honest. So I think for Arsenal, it's a good day. Good going forward with Ceballos and good at the back with David Luiz.
And Villa not able to pick up any points against Bournemouth. These are the games that Dean Smith has to win to stay in the Premier League, aren't they?
Well, teams like Aston Villa, Norwich, Sheffield United, for example, the 3 sides that came up, the one thing they have to do is get points at home, because every time they step on the field away, they really are. They're underdogs big time. And for Villa today to lose at home in the first game back in the Premier League, that's a huge blow. Norwich, on the other hand, what a start. A win last weekend, and then to win 3-0 against the Newcastle side, who I think are going to struggle a lot this year, and certainly Steve Bruce, after this result, as early as it is, will be under even more pressure.
Yeah, and we deserve to give a quick mention then to Teemu Pukki, who scored a hat trick.
Yep.
3 goals. He scored 29 times last year for Norwich in the Championship. A lot of the doubters saying, well, he can't do this in the Premier League. He's got 4 goals now in 2 matches.
You know, the problem Pukki has is that he's not very stylish. You know, he's not...
What's wrong with him?
Well, he's not...
Style tips from
he just
Stevie
looks
Nicol.
big and awkward, and, you know, he's not smooth. You know, nothing rolls off the tongue or his feet or anything smoothly. But you know what? Football's full of all kinds of different players, and it's full of goal scorers. And right now, he's a goal scorer.
He is a goal scorer, and he's done very well to start off this second round of the Premier League. Let's talk about Everton real quickly, because a lot of people saying that maybe they can knock on the door for 6th place. Do you see it happening? Got 3 points today.
This will certainly help. To be honest, when I saw this result, I was thinking more about Watford than Everton. You know, Watford again were one of those sides that were spoken about in the same breath as your Everton, your Wolves, to maybe get in that top 6. And Watford have had a horrible start. 2 losses, showing no real form, just not showing that flair that they showed at times last season. But as your question was, Everton, if they continue to pick up points like this against teams like Watford, then you know that will give them confidence when they play the so-called bigger teams. So yes, they'll be knocking on the door.
And we haven't seen too much of their big signing, Moise Kean, who joined over the summer from Juventus. Let's talk about your old team, Liverpool, who had a midweek game in the Super Cup against Chelsea. So their front 3 averaging a total of 100 minutes played. So maybe some tired legs. We saw shades of it in the first half, but then they picked it up in the second.
Well, it's a win. At the end of the day, it's about winning. It's always nice to win in a canter. It's always nice to play lovely football. But sometimes you've got to tough it out, and this was a squeaky win. Yes, they did score goals. Yes, they created more chances, but unfortunately, Southampton could have scored more goals as well, and certainly created a lot more chances that will give Jurgen Klopp something to think about, particularly coming up against Arsenal next weekend. Because if they give the opportunities to Arsenal the way they did against Southampton, then people like Aubameyang and Lacazette are going to take them, and Liverpool are going to find themselves in trouble.
And Manchester City Spurs, probably the game of the round. It ended 2-2. It didn't feel like a 2-2 though. Manchester City with 30 shots total compared to Spurs' 3. what happened here? How were City unable to get the 3 points?
Listen, it's very easy to sum it up. Considering 30 shots to 3, you have to finish better. And that unfortunately for City was the only thing missing, because some of the football they played, some of the passing, some of the movement was absolutely out of this world. Just an absolute joy to watch. You've got to give Tottenham credit. They stuck in there, they hung in there, because as a football game, they were completely and utterly outplayed from the start to the finish. But they dug it out and they got a point. How? I'm really not quite too sure.
And a little bit of VAR drama, but in your opinion, if you're offside or if it's a handball, VAR is perfect.
Yes.
Right? Different fan bases are going to react differently to every single VAR call.
And at the end of the day, if somebody cannot realise that VAR gives you the right result, the right decision, if you can't work out that that's the correct thing, then, well, there's no point in talking to you, because what's the point?
A real stickler for rules is Stevie Nicol. It was a super Saturday
It's
as
either
well.
right or wrong, correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm right there with you. We don't agree often. We agree on VAR, though. Super Saturday in the Premier League, some excellent results. An excellent Manchester City, unfortunately not able to pull out the result, though, and get 3 points.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.